Have you ever heard a phrase, the truth will set you free? Have you ever heard the second half? First, it's going to piss you off. I'm Erin, I'm Queen Bee Tarot, and this is the technical stuff of your astrology for the week of September 26th to October 3rd. We don't have many serious angles happening, but we do have a couple of major astrological events. I'm going to start with today, Sunday. We've got Mercury moving into Scorpio. So Mercury is communication, the mind, word, agreements, contracts. And when it was in Libra, it was balanced, it was an air sign. And Mercury moving into Scorpio is definitely going to have our minds going down into the depths. Thinking about life, death, rebirth, karma. It might activate jealousy for you. It might activate philosophy for you, depending on what kind of a person you are. But the next month proves to be interesting, to say the least. On Monday, the moon moves into Pisces. The moon on Sunday's been in Aquarius, so again, air sign. Sunday feels very logical, airy. But as any of these planets are in the last stages of a sign, it also kind of brings the state of urgency. So if you feel like you're supposed to accomplish something on Sunday, that's what it's coming from. The moon and Mercury being in the last stages of air signs. Monday, the moon moves into Pisces. We've got Venus trine Mars, which shows that there is an ability to work within relationships, positive, negative, give and take, all those things that help us work with ourselves and then outside of ourselves. So that's relationships. And then Mars is directing our ego and our energy and our will. So when Venus is trine Mars, it's a day of flow. Monday is likely to be a good day of flow. It's also a really good day to talk. If anybody's been holding back and not saying something, it's going to come out this week. And that's the energy of it. So if you can, do it in the beginning of the week when we've got Venus trine Mars. Tuesday, Saturn goes direct. Saturn has been retrograde for months. And Saturn retrograde makes it feel like we can't accomplish anything, but also society and civilization's kind of been collapsing. That's another part of it too. But that's Saturn conjunct Pluto. 2020 has been nuts. And for most of it, Saturn's been retrograde. So Saturn coming out of retrograde is going to be a very slow but eventual beginning of forward movement. And so what this is it's a time of integrating all the lessons, all the ideals that we've taken to heart with Neptune retrograde as well. And taking Uranus retrograde, that sense of working on inner health, inner healing, doing that change inside first. Now that Jupiter's come out of retrograde first and now Saturn on Tuesday, it's like all these lessons are ready to be integrated into new systems, new realities, new ways of living, and new ways of organizing society and hopefully civilization. Like looking out for the little guy. Yeah. Okay. Wednesday, the moon moves into Aries. And so when we have a culmination of Pisces, that's the end of the zodiac, that's kind of like a bringing together of everything that we've learned. When the moon moves into Aries, it's this new phase through the zodiac, starting at the first sign, and Aries is fire. Aries is the warrior, ready to fight over the littlest thing, and the laser beam of focus. That's the kind of fire that Aries is. And so Wednesday, the moon moves into Aries, and the moon is also conjunct Neptune. Well, that would be in Pisces right before it moves into Aries. But when the moon joins up with Neptune, our feelings and our ideals kind of lock into place. And then Thursday, the moon is full. And so we've got this peak, this climax of energy. I just want to remind you the beginning of this peak. 2 weeks ago, we had a new moon cycle start in Virgo. So the focus being on details, health, daily routines, and basic living, and looking after minding the details for sure. And so with that being the focus of the month, then we've got this peak focus of a full moon in Aries. And so Aries, again, is all about new beginnings. But as the warrior, if we are holding too tightly to our egos, then we might find ourselves fighting to defend our egos when there's really nothing to defend. So hopefully this full moon for you is going to be a breakthrough rather than a breakdown. We've had a few of those lately, and those are no fun. And this burst of energy, though, it's also going to be really helpful for creativity, for accomplishing projects. Hopefully, if you can harness this energy of this full moon, it is a great way to start the next however many months as we go through these full moon and new moon cycles. What I ended up doing was casting a chart for this full moon. And I talked about that in my last video, and I didn't have my proper notes in front of me. Now I do. And what I wanted to talk about was the asteroids that are involved. So the moon is conjunct Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer, representing usually our greatest pain in this lifetime, but also the path to overcoming it and healing. And when the moon is conjunct Chiron, that means our emotional awareness of our pain is going to be right there. Right there. Can't hide it, can't stuff it. So an awareness of our pain and how that ties into our emotions. And the sun, so during a full moon, we have moon over here, sun over here, and the sun illuminates the moon. And so they're opposites, they're creating a reflection, and sometimes we don't like that reflection. And the sun is going to be conjunct two really interesting asteroids. The first one I talked about was Apophis, and that one is all about chaos, evil, total darkness, total fear. And what's interesting is to have an asteroid that represents those dark aspects exactly conjunct the sun. What that means is that light is being shown on all the darkness. So bringing it up outside of ourselves, ready to share it, ready to heal it, but also seeing it outside of ourselves, seeing pain and ego and false narratives for what it is, shining a light. And so even though that's not going to be a fun reflection, it's a necessary one. The other thing is that the sun is going to be conjunct logos, and that is Greek for the word. And it can refer to logical mind, but it's also about speaking. But I wanted to tie it into another interpretation of logos, which is the connection to divine, the connection to spirit. And the word was used as magic back, centuries, thousands of years ago. Only a very few people could read or write or those things. So the attachment of magical manifestation energy to words and the power behind spoken word has always been really important. And it's not something we pay too much attention to. And especially in this day and age, with a lot of people lying, it's really hard to take people at their word. I mean, the whole concept of fact checking within our social media streams is just insane right now. A lot of people are having a hard time believing people's word. And so to have the sun conjunct logos is also shining a light on the word. Shining a light on our own personal divine connection, shining a light on our own personal moral compass and our own words, but also shining a light on the words of others, helping us to find awareness and see words for what they really are. So I feel like this full moon already, it feels explosive, chaotic, but also really necessary. A great awakening. I just have this feeling that there's a great awakening coming this week. I wanted to remind everybody that no matter how much you've been through, the cracks are how the light gets through. And the more that we allow that light to come into our dark parts, the more we allow ourselves to heal. So a few other conjunctions happening. Mercury is conjunct Sappho, and she was actually a real person, a poet, someone who was very much in touch with her own sensuality and her artistic expression. And Sappho represents feeling free to be who we are. So this conjunction is setting a stage for our minds and our awareness and our inner dialogue, creating a level of love and acceptance of who we really are. And that is ultimately necessary in order for us to heal, is that we have to love and accept who we are, pain and cracks and all. Venus is opposite Ceres, and Ceres is like Demeter, goddess of the earth. And what we've got is in an opposition, we've got an awareness of what kind of garden are we creating? How do we give our attention and energy? What are we spending our time on? If we really focus on what we're giving our time and attention and energy to, it's possible that we need to spend less time reading false narratives on social media streams and spend more time centering ourselves, breathing, and listening to our own inner voice for guidance. Because right now, with all this distortion of reality, sometimes it's a better option to just turn it off and focus within. Through all of this, we can either resolve to be warriors of love and light, or we can just hold on to that ego and die trying. But this is definitely one of those path splitting kind of things. All of 2020 is all about basically choosing a side. I mean, are you going to keep defending your ego, or are you going to be humble and grow towards the light? And so as we've been drawing these lines in the sand, what happens is with Saturn moving direct, our paths split. And so I feel like this is going to be a monumental week, to say the least. So again, the truth will set you free, but first it might piss you off. Whatever it is you have to say, you got to say it. You can't hold it within. And once it's said, it's out. It's done. Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. This is Erin here at Queen Bee Tarot. Take care of yourselves, you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.